So what do you do if you are LeBron? We got Philly here that has, I think, the best starting five of the ones that are in the core. Of the ones that are in the core, I think the Spurs are still a sleeper here. I could argue the Spurs could be right there, especially with the youth that we saw. That youth was good enough to go through OKC and lead the Knicks in every single game and lead the Knicks in every game by double digits. If they had a LeBron, even a 40-plus-year-old LeBron, they win that championship. But if we're looking at from the core, who Rich Paul has designated as the core options for LeBron, Philadelphia seems to be the most optimal. Miami seems the most sexy because you're pairing Bam Adebayo, who just fresh off dropping 80+. You're bringing in a back-to-back MVP and NBA champion in Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're bringing in A. Wiggins, who you could argue was the finals MVP on that last chip with the Warriors in them. And then Davion Mitchell is a solid player. He's clearly the weakest of this potential five with LeBron. But that's a sexy thing he made up with Pat Riley, allegedly. Storybook ending and closing the arc by going back to one of your former stops and making good. Miami did not like the taste in their mouth when LeBron left. They felt jettisoned by LeBron. They felt the cold shoulder about LeBron when it was clear he was not returning. And that organization and that fan base, and especially that media base, always got at LeBron because they were mad. They were mad. They were a bad ex. It was a bad breakup. Now when you're looking at making a storybook ending, closing the loop, is it going back to South Beach and pairing up with Giannis, pairing up with Bam? Is taking the minimum or close enough to the minimum worth it to go hoop in South Beach? Then you gotta look at Ant. Ant obviously is a clutch sport, so him and Rich Paul is like this, him and Bron is like this, so there's that obvious connection. But now you're talking about LaMelo. Who gets the ball? LaMelo's very ball dominant. Now, Jaden McDaniels is a bigger three, but a small four. Now, if LeBron's with Minnesota, LeBron is able to play the four. Jaden McDaniels could go to what I think is a more natural position for him in the three. And you still have Ant and LaMelo in the backcourt. That, to me, is it's the easiest lineup for LeBron to fit into. So I think the Sixers is the best lineup outside the Spurs, because the Spurs on the outside looking in according to Rich Paul. The Sixers are the best lineup LeBron could fit into. I think the easiest lineup for LeBron to fit into is the one in Minnesota because everyone is clearly defined. Everyone moves into their natural position. Ant is a natural two. That's what he is. LaMelo is a point. He's a point that also likes his shot, so you got to figure that out. But he is a willing facilitator. Jaden McDaniels is not a four. So you have LeBron play the four. Now McDaniels goes to a natural spot at the three. And then you still got Rudy Gobert anchoring at the five. I think that's the easiest lineup for LeBron to fit into. The Denver one is the most intriguing from the standpoint of Nikola Jokic and LeBron playing together. How would that work? Now, by no means am I saying it won't work. I just want to see what that would look like because Jokic is another guy that likes to have the ball in his hands, likes to orchestrate and facilitate. He's the best passing big man of all time. How do you now play with a guy that's 6'9" and has similar abilities and vision, court vision to you? It's a great problem to have. And Jamal Murray's no slouch at facilitating as well. So you have three guys potentially in Bron, Murray, and Jokic who can all facilitate. The ball movement would be amazing if you could get Jokic and LeBron to be at the top. And then you have Murray, Johnson, and Aaron Gordon just running around. Screens, pin downs, flares, just setting all types of ball movement and player movement. The spread offense could be really in play. So maybe the most fun lineup is LeBron in Denver. for basketball, for pure basketball reasons, the most fun is LeBron in Denver. Cleveland, I think, is the team that needs LeBron the most. So the most neediest lineup is Cleveland. Because Spider Mitchell and the beard, we saw it. It looks good in the regular season. It could even get you through the first round. But we have no faith in them advancing past that. Putting LeBron in this lineup now gives me the confidence that they can at least get to the conference finals and be a legitimate threat if they were to get to the conference finals and not just be a walkthrough. Like the path that was carved out in the East was extremely weak this past season. Knicks got their championship. I'm not taking any credit away. However, we also need to examine the teams that were in the way of anybody in the East. All those teams were flawed. All those teams had glaring weaknesses. The glaring weakness for Cleveland is that they have nobody, they don't have anybody that anyone is scared of in a clutch. As good as Spider is, as good as the beard is, no one is scared of them in the clutch. And even though LeBron has had his moments, mostly early in his career, where guys like Skip Bayless made millions of dollars over calling him not clutch, LeBron is clutch. LeBron is a guy that you can count on to make the right basketball play. It may not work, but he's going to make the right basketball play. So Cleveland, to me, is the most neediest team. They're in the team in the most need of LeBron. The Sixers don't need LeBron. But if they get him, that takes them through the roof. They have to be the favorite in the East, even with the Knicks coming back with more or less the same roster, sans MAGA Mitch Rob. LeBron in Miami will be a great story, but I still think Giannis and Bam, just off that, and filling in with a bunch of other guys, your Chris Middletons, maybe even your Bradley Beals of the world, that's enough for me to still put them as a top 4 team in the East. Now you go over to the West, outside of Cleveland, of this core group, I think that the Timberwolves are probably the second most neediest team that needs LeBron. I think LeBron fitting into this lineup fits almost too good for them not to do it. Like it works so much that it would be really a big, huge oversight if they didn't do it. They have to do it. You got Ant in play. So Ant and Rich Paul, we know what that is. Like that to me, if I am the brain trust, if I am Alex Rodriguez and the rest of that Timberwolves brain trust, you have to go all out to get LeBron because it's the most seamless fit to where he slides in at the 4 and you put Jaden McDaniels back the way he belongs at the 3. And then you got LaMelo and Ant in your backcourt like that. That to me is the most seamless. The Sixers getting him would be an embarrassment of riches. The Heat getting him, it's cool, but I don't know how this works from a basketball perspective. Again, everything hems on are the Miami Heat finally unleashing point forward Bam Adebayo. Are we getting point Bam? If we're not getting point Bam, and Bron is going to be running point or sharing point with Devion Mitchell, I don't know. If Bam is chilling in the paint with Giannis just trying to crash boards, I don't like that fit. Now, if Bam is at the top of the key, like a Jokic, like a habitual nut-hitter Draymond Green, now that's a different story. So if they're unlocking Bam and LeBron is fitting into that, I'm cool with it. Denver is the most intriguing because I don't know what that looks like from a basketball perspective, but I still want to see it. Again, never before have we been brought inside this type of breakdown. And assuming this is all above board, this could all be for content. Rich Paul's learning this, as I spoke about earlier. But assuming this is even 70% accurate, him putting that asterisk means a lot. And him putting this minus means a lot. So however you want to go about it, Weems is a plus, because that's his man's, but no Garland, negative for Cleveland. The speed Maxine Edgecombe played with may clash with Bron's style of play now. Interesting. Let's see if we could break that down. So, yes, that could be a thing, right? Or let's spin that the other way. We know how Kevin Love is with the outlet passes, right? Where he crashed the boards, and his first turn is to look and see who's available to start early offense, to start the transition, to start that early offense, right? What if Bron in this flow, because obviously Jaylen Brown can get up and down as well. Imagine Bron playing the 4. He crashes the boards with Embiid, and he turns, and Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown are all leaking out. So while, yes, to your point, Steph, I'm not disagreeing. I'm taking that and I'm saying, okay, word, but what if we flip that? What if we take that yes, Bron at this point in his career might be more of a half-court offense guy in terms of possession by possession. But if we now put him in a position where all he's got to do is crash boards and look who's leaking out, which channels into what he naturally is. He is naturally supposed to be Magic Johnson. He is supposed to be the evolution of Magic Johnson. But because of his athletic ability, he's been pushed to be more chasing Jordan. LeBron at his core is more Magic Johnson than he is Michael Jordan, more than he is Kobe Bryant. He's more Magic. If we can, on the way out, unlock Magic LeBron, or LeBron's interpretation of Magic Johnson, and he's got Maxey and Edgecombe leaking out, and also JB, and then, oh, by the way, I still got that 7'2" Cameroonian. Like that, to me, I like that. If I'm Bron and I could do that, I'm hooping with someone I want to hoop with in Maxey. I had my issues with Jaylen Brown. He was talking shit about Bronny, but we got over that. I'm trying to get a Larry O.B. You're trying to, shove it up the Celtics' ass. We could both agree to disagree. We could still hoop together. I got this youngin' in Edgecombe who I can help groom. I can help the process in Embiid be cemented and help Embiid finally reach that apex of what he's been promising as the process. There's a lot of things that work well for Philly here. So while, yes, I do see what you're saying in regards to Maxey and Edgecombe like to get up and down, that can be impactful in a negative way because of how LeBron is right now. I'm still going with, well, LeBron should be smart enough to understand that piece and be like, all right, well, I'm going to be Kevin Love. I'm going to get these boards, I'm going to turn, I'm going to look, and I'm going to play. He used to play football, right? I'm going to try to be the quarterback. Get that rock off the glass, and I'm looking deep. I'm going to get it to Maxey, I'm going to get it to VJ, and we're going to get a lot of early, easy buckets. How does someone LeBron's age conserve energy? By letting them youngins keep running up and down. I'm going to get these boards and I'm going to give you the ball and y'all go get a bucket. I'll be right back here conserving energy, ready to lock in and play defense and crash boards again. So as much as this went viral, right? The whole Rich Paul at a whiteboard thing went viral because this is a unique way to break something down. This is analytical. This is metrics. This is data. This is taking a lot of time to sit down and break it down piece by piece, brick by brick. And never before have we seen, again, I think it went viral because we haven't seen this from someone who clearly is inside like Rich Paul. Can you imagine David Falk, Michael Jordan's agent, sitting down at a whiteboard when Jordan could have left the Bulls, which he could have left many times and actually thought about it a few times. And the Knicks were one of that mix even back then. Can you imagine a scenario where David Falk is sitting down at a whiteboard and walking through all the options Michael Jordan has and the one that he's actually considering and giving you some of the reasons, not all. Like Rich Paul ain't giving you all the tea, but he's giving you enough tea that he knows that he can float out there and it doesn't come back to hurt him. So he's giving you releasable tea and putting it out there for the world to take and to consume. So as much as I am, look, I've been in sports media a long time, and I have not been a fan of what new media, as Draymond Green has liked to coin it, new media has done. This is what I want from new media. Because this isn't locker room stories. This isn't, I'm showing my biases. This is the actual inside information that we do not get. No journalist no insider. Shams could not have done a whiteboard like this. Shams can only mention the teams and maybe some of the contributing factors, but Shams is not going to be able to sit down and bust it down like this on ESPN. He would not. He could not. But Rich Paul, again, player empowerment, and in proxy because of that, agent empowerment, so much so that arguably the leading agent in the basketball space has a podcast. And that's not considered a conflict of interest. Be that as it may, this is what we're looking for. When the whole notion of new media and athletes are coming in and taking over this space, they're going to do it their way, and they're tired of old school media, which is predominantly old white male media. We're going to do it differently because we're black, we're different, we're young, we got different energy, different tech, different access. Word, I'm here for all of it. And then they continuously just do things that the old white media did, just with their spin on it, which wasn't that different. How they went about it, they showed the same biases. Reporters are biased to the players who they liked, players that gave them access, players that would sit down and be nice to them and give them, minutes or hours of their time so that they could do their stories. Athletes are doing the same thing. They're giving inside information. They're giving tea. They're giving tea to the insiders that they like. And the agents are doing the same thing. The agents are leaking information through the media members that they like. So you're not doing anything different. You're doing the same thing that you were mad that the media was doing, just with your coat of paint on top of it. The primer is still there. You're just putting a fresh coat over it. So now with new media, if this is what new media is going to look like, where an agent is going to sit down and bust it down and break it down and tell us, this is what me and my most important client are walking through and thinking through and talking through in free agency. This is new media. This is what it is. Not Draymond hosting a podcast in his hotel room after a game. That's not new media.